Today, we're going to be going over how funding works with the 5ers. We'll go over how their challenges work, their profit splits, and the key rules you need to know before signing up. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we dive into today's video, we're going to be doing a giveaway, so make sure you stay tuned to hear exactly how you can enter. Now, how exactly does funding work at the 5ers? Well, the 5ers operate similar to any other prop firm. You pay for an evaluation or a challenge to prove your skills, then you pass the challenge meeting the profit target without violating any risk rules. After that, you get funded and you get to trade with the 5ers simulated capital and earn a profit split of anywhere from 50 to 100% depending on the program. Now let's talk a little bit about the founders and the background of the company. The 5ers was founded by Gil Ben-Hur and Snar H.O., who were both experienced traders. The company was established in 2016 and are one of the oldest prop firms around today. They're also headquartered in Israel. Now, in terms of trading platforms, as of right now, they currently only offer MetaTrader 5. For payment methods, they have credit cards, debit cards, Apple Pay, PayPal, Google Pay, and crypto. And for payouts, they have two options, which are RisePay and crypto. In terms of payout frequency, that right now is a bi-weekly option. For instruments and assets, they have Forex, indices, energy, crypto, and other commodities. The 5ers also offers a variety of programs or accounts. For example, they have a hyper growth program, which is their 1-step. They have the high stakes program, which is the 2-step, and then they have the bootcamp, which is the 3-step. Now, in terms of account sizes, they have the 5K, 10K, 20, 60, 100, and even a 250K, but that all depends on the type of program that you go with. So what does a typical 2-step challenge look like at the 5ers? Well, let's use your standard 100K challenge as an example. Profit target is 8% in phase 1 and 5% in phase 2. Overall drawdown is 10% and your daily drawdown is 5%. There's no time limit, so that's amazing. But there's some other information you need to know as well, like what the commissions and spreads are like. Now, in terms of commissions, they basically have $4 per standard lot for Forex and metals. However, for indices, energy, crypto, and commodities, there are no commissions. Spreads is a little bit more informative, so let me show you on the screen what that looks like. Alright, so for spreads, I'm going to go over to our new spreads page here on propformatch.com, and you can see for Forex what the spreads are looking like for the 5ers. You can see here that they are mostly green, which means that they're good on average. So for example, you can see for Euro USD right now it's showing 2.1, but for USD JPY it's showing 3, and GU is showing 4.7. When I go up to crypto, you can see that the 5ers also has decent spreads for crypto as well. So you can see here what that's like for Bitcoin and what that's like for Ethereum. Moving over to indices, you can see for the 5ers also is in green, meaning that on average, these are really good spreads. Now, keep in mind that indices or indexes are measured differently because they move more and they're larger and things like that. So the spreads will look a little different than Forex or other instruments, but again, they're highlighted in green, which means that these are good on average. And then finally, when you come to metals, you can see also for the 5ers that we have 2.6 for gold and 1.9 for silver. So overall, really good and competitive spreads for the 5ers. All right, so now that we've gone over spreads and commissions, I think it's time we talk about some of the firm's key rules, which will help you as a trader understand what you can and cannot do when it comes to trading with the 5ers. So when we go on to Prop Firm Match and we click on the 5ers, we get to their firm overview page. We can just scroll down till we get to the point where it says firm rules. Now you can see there's a lot of rules here, but it's good for you to understand so that you can again know what you can and what you cannot do when it comes to trading with the 5ers. So for example, first things up is news trading. Okay, with the hyper growth and bootcamp, you're allowed except for bracket strategies around news. For the high stakes, however, executing orders 2 minutes before until 2 minutes after high impact news is prohibited, meaning not allowed. When it comes to copy trading, you're allowed for high stakes and hyper growth with limitations. Once a trader has more than 500K under management, taking the same trades across accounts is no longer possible. Copy trading from an external account is allowed only if the account belongs to the same trader, and third-party copy trading is not allowed at all. All right, then we have rules for EAs. So EAs are allowed as long as they comply with the terms and conditions. And then the high stakes program requires at least a minimum of 3 profitable days. And a profitable day is a day where closed positions generate at least 0.5% of the initial balance. Okay, bootcamp rules. Your stop loss is required for all positions and orders. Stop loss must not risk more than 2% of the account balance per position. 3% daily pause, which is a soft breach, applies during the funded stage. And opening a position without a stop loss order or exceeding the 2% risk limit is a violation. Here are some prohibited practices. one-sided bets, meaning taking consistent positions in one single direction without considering market conditions, exploitation of price discrepancies, also known as arbitrage, trading bracket strategies by placing pending orders around high-impact news, and exploiting system errors such as price display inaccuracies or update delays. And then finally, they have the rules for inactivity, which a lot of prop firms have, if not all, and that is accounts without new orders for more than 30 consecutive calendar days will expire. Okay, so a lot of these news, a lot of other prop firms have, and with the 5ers, it's kind of no exception. Again, something you should go over to familiarize yourself so you can know what you can and cannot do. Now, I think it's also important to mention banned countries, which every prop firm has. These things are usually out of the controls of the prop firms, as a lot of different rules and regulations in different jurisdictions do sometimes make it difficult for prop firms to do business in those countries. But that being said, here's a couple of those countries that are banned from the 5ers. For example, the US, Afghanistan, Burundi, Congo, and so on and so forth. We believe it's important for you to do your due diligence, so make sure you go over to the 5ers website, go to their FAQs, and find out if your country is on that list, or in other words, if your country is serviceable by the 5ers or not. Now, before we go and look at what the traders at Prop Firm Match are saying about the 5ers, I think it's also worth pointing out that the 5ers is one of those prop firms that have a good scaling plan for consistently profitable traders. For example, if you're consistently profitable, depending on the program that you selected, you can scale your account up all the way up to $4 million. And your profit splits can also increase all the way up to 100%, again, depending on the program that you selected. So with that being said, let's now go over to the review section and take a look at what some of our traders are saying about the 5ers. All right, so here we are on the reviews page for the 5ers, and you can see they have a solid score of 4.8 stars out of 5 with 700 reviews. So let's take a look at some of the reviews and just see what the traders here at Prop Firm Match are saying. So for example, Cyprian wrote that, "I love this prop firm because it's good for new traders and experienced traders too. For customer service is very friendly and support for a customer. The price of their projects is very cheap, and I love it because it gives us funds for traders. It's very supportive in trade idea, so it's best for me. I recommend other people to choose the 5ers because it's best for all the traders and transparency. The payout is get less than 48 hours and is legit for anyone." So they love the customer service and they love the speed of the payouts, which is an excellent thing for any prop firm. Abdullah Fees wrote that the trading conditions is very great and no hiding rules. Customer service is very responsive and very fast. Also, the spread is tight, which makes profitability easier and good for scalping. So that was a 5-star, whereas Cyprian had a 4-star. Okay, let's read one more. We have Samir, who put a 5-star review here. He said, "The 5ers is a solid prop trading firm offering funded accounts up to $4 million through flexible programs like high stakes and boot camps. With a 4.8-star Trustpilot rating, it supports diverse strategies on MT5, allowing overnight trading, and offers profit splits up to 100%. A top pick for Forex traders seeking quick funding and reliability." Excellent review. And you can see here, he said his top firm aspect was flexible trading conditions, but his least liked aspect was minimum profitable trading days. So as you can see, just going through the reviews, a lot of the traders have generally good things to say about the 5ers, and we hope you will too. So it's finally time for the instructions for the giveaway in this video, so listen up because I'm only going to say this once. But here are the instructions that essentially you've got to follow to enter today's giveaway. The first thing you got to do is like and subscribe to the channel. And the second thing you've got to do is comment something new you learned from this video about how funny works at the 5ers. Best of luck to everybody. But as always, thank you so much for watching. This has been an overview of the 5ers funding challenge, and we hope to see you in the next one.